guys, how are you guys doing today? I hope well. This is the third installment of my favorite books as of right now. I got my 10 stacked up right there, and let's get started. So this one is called A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. It basically just, tells you like about his upbringing and his struggles with his identity and stuff. If you don't know, he's a YouTuber, and I absolutely love him. So sorry, the clouds are really fluffy out there. I keep looking at them. Anyway, let's read. Let's see what he's about. In this intimate memoir of life beyond the camera, Connor Franta shares the lessons he has learned so far on his journey from small-town boy to internet sensation. Here, Connor offers a look at his Midwestern upbringing as one of 4 children in the home and one of 5 in the classroom. His struggles with identity, body image, and sexuality in his teen years, and his decision to finally pursue his creative and artistic passions in his early 20s, setting up his flourishing career as a YouTube personality, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and tastemaker, exploring his past with insight and humor, his present with humility, and his future with hope. Connor reveals his private struggles while providing heartfelt words of wisdom for young adults. His words will resonate with anyone coming of age in the digital era, but at the core is a timeless message. Don't be afraid to be yourself and to go after what you truly want. Yeah, a little reading struggles there. So there's pages like this with little pictures from his childhood. There is pages like this, and just different photography that I'm pretty positive he did. I'm trying to see if there's any other cool pages. I know there's one that I find really cool. I just can't find it. Here's one. This is something he wrote, hand wrote. No, I mean you can look at it. I can't find it, you guys. Oh, right here. This is a letter from his dad, and then it just goes on to that page. I just love this so much. I devoured this. It was so good. But yeah, Work in Progress by Connor Franta. If you enjoy his personality, his YouTube, go check it out. Even if you don't, this is a really good book, so get it. Okay, next up is When It Happens, which I read this back in middle school, and I absolutely loved it. Yeah, let's see what it's about. Seniors in high school, Sarah and Toby, couldn't be more different. She is focused on getting she is focused on getting into her first choice college. He wants to win Battle of the Bands. Sarah's other goal is to find true love. So when Dave, a popular jock, asks her out, she's thrilled. But then there's Toby. His amazing blue eyes and quirky wit always creeps into her thought. Luckily for Sarah, one of Toby's goals is to also make her fall in love with him. Told in alternating points of view, Sarah and Toby's real connection will have everyone rooting for them from the minute they meet. And so what that means is one page is Sarah and one chapter is Sarah and one chapter is Toby. I'm just trying to see if there's a difference. Oh, there kind of is. So they're it's kind of bold here, and then when it changes, it's not. So Toby's bold and Sarah isn't. Go pick it up, guys. Next up, surprise, surprise. Why wouldn't one of my favorite authors be in this one, you would say? Well, he is. And it's Will Grayson by John Green and David Levinson? I don't know. And this one is basically just about two guys named Will Grayson and their life. So let's read it. One cold night in a most unlikely corner of Chicago, two strangers cross paths. Two teens with the same name running in two different circles suddenly find their lives going in new and unexpected directions, accumulatively in heroic turns of heart and the most epic musical ever to grace the high school stage. So it's also really good. Like, these books are obviously all really good, Megan, because you're in your favorites, but Will Grayson is a must read. And along with that is another book from John Green, and it's just John Green, and it's The Fault in Our Stars. This is a fantastic book. If you don't, know what A Fault in Our Stars is, where have you been? Like, this book has been on the market for a while. It is also a movie. But I read the book first and then I watched the movie because that's what I tend to do. That's what I like to do. But yeah, it's really good. I would say both are good, both the book and the movie, but the book just gives so much more detail, which I like, and like that's expected because why would you want a movie that was 5 hours long? That just does not seem enjoyable. But yeah, A Fault in Our Stars. Let's read it, or the back of it, shall we? Despite the tumor shrinking medical miracle that has bought her a few years, Hazel has never been anything but terminal. Her final chapter inscribed upon diagnosis. But when a gorgeous plot twist named Augustus Waters suddenly appears at Cancer Kids support group, Hazel's story is about to be completely rewritten. Yeah. It's a beautiful book and you should go read it, guys. I don't know. Next up is Fake Boyfriend by Kate Bryan. This is honestly a really good book, and what attracted me to it was the cover. I tend to go for pretty covers, honestly. But yeah. So I read this one in like high school or middle school. I don't remember which one it was. But I have a log somewhere because in middle school throughout high school we had to log the books that we read, and then we had to turn them in for points. And we had SSR, sustained silent reading, which was a mandatory thing every day for 20 minutes. It started out like I think it was like the last 20 minutes of the day, and then it changed to the first 20 minutes of the day. And honestly, that's the only reason why I read in high school and middle school, and that's the reason why I fell in love with reading. But yeah, A Fake Boyfriend. Let's read. Lane and Vivi have had it with Isabel's boyfriend Sean. He is the only person who can turn their smart, confident best friend into a complete mess. When Sean cheats on Izzy and dumps her just months before the prom, Lane and Vivi decide to take action. With a few quick keystrokes, they create a MySpace page for Brandon, the perfect guy to get Izzy out of her revolving door relationship. Too bad he's totally fake. Vivi's younger brother is way too into being the man behind the profile, so they turn to a cute prep school Jonathan to be the face of Brandon. But when Vivi falls for Jonathan and Sean tries to get back with Izzy, the whole plan starts to go south faster than you can say fake boyfriend. Wow, MySpace. That's aging this book. Holy crap. Who remembers MySpace? Let me know down below if you remember MySpace. 2007 is when this was copyrighted. But oh my gosh, I had a MySpace, I think when I was like 12 or something, and I only got a MySpace because one of my mom's co-workers, her son had a MySpace and he had no friends, and so my mom made me make a MySpace profile so I could be his friend, and that, my friends, is when my social media addiction started. I honestly don't think I would be as addicted to social media as I am now if I wouldn't have made a MySpace. But oh my gosh, I miss MySpace, guys. Do you guys miss MySpace? Those were the simpler times. I loved it. Okay, next up is a goodie, and then an oldie but a goodie, and it's The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. I just love this story, period, in book form and in movie form. It's just a really good book. And so if you don't know, I'm going to read to you what The Notebook is about. The Notebook is an arching, tender story about the enduring power of love, a story of miracles that will stay with you forever, set amid the beauty of coastal North Carolina in 1964. The Notebook begins the story of Noah Calhoun and a rural southerner returned home from World War II. Noah, 31, is restoring a plantation home to its former glory, and he is haunted by images of a beautiful girl he met 14 years earlier, a girl he loved like no other. Unable to find her, yet unwilling to forget the summer they spent together, Noah is content to live with only memories until she unexpectedly returns to his town to see him once again. Allie Nelson, 29, is now engaged to another man, but realizes that the original passion she felt for Noah has not dimmed with the passage of time. Still, the obstacles that once ended their previous relationship remains, and the gulf between their worlds is too vast to ignore. With her impending marriage only weeks away, Allie is forced to confront her hopes and dreams for the future that only she can shape. Like a puzzle within a puzzle, the story of Noah and Allie is just beginning. As it unfolds their tale, miraculous beginnings, something different with much higher stakes. The result is a deeply moving portrait of love itself, the tender moments and the fundamental changes that affect us all. Shining with a beauty that is rarely found in current literature, The Notebook establishes Nicholas Sparks as a classic storyteller with a unique insight into the only emotion that really matters. Ooh. That is interesting, but it really is a good book, and you should go read it. Okay, next up is Steve Jobs, the Man Who Thought Different. And obviously this is about Steve Jobs, who, if you don't know who Steve Jobs is, where are you at? He's the creator and co-creator and co-founder of Apple. And this is basically just like a biography. And yeah, ever since I got my first Apple product, I've kind of been obsessed with learning about him. So let's learn about what this book is. From the start, his path was never predictable. Steve Jobs was given up for adoption at birth, he dropped out of college after one semester, and at the age of 21, he created Apple in his parents' garage with his friend Steve Wozniak. Quickly rising to the top of his industry, Jobs pushes all boundaries and cultivated what became the hallmark of his genius: his perfectionism, taste, and design style. But soon after success, Jobs was fired from the top spot of his own company, finding himself a beginner again. Jobs enters into one of the most creative periods of his life. Through Pixar, the iPod, and the iPhone, Jobs revolutionized the major industry of movies, music, and phones. An avid seeker of discipline of the mind and body, he battled cancer for nearly a decade, became the ultimate CEO, and made the world want every product he touched. And then there's a little Stevie on the back. And this, honestly, if you're into biographies and if you're into Steve Jobs and knowing more about him, this is the perfect book. There's also like little pictures like this throughout, and it's just a really good read. So yeah, and then again, I don't plan it like this, but I guess it's the new trend now that every one of these videos, well, the last two, and then this one is going to end with a series. So let's find out what our series is, and it is The Hunger Games. This is honestly a really good book, and that Catching Fire and Mockingjay. But like always, I'm not going to read what these ones are about because they are the sequels to this one, so I'm just going to say what this one's about. And honestly, if you don't know by now, maybe Ben, but our main character, Katniss, goes into something called the Hunger Games, fights for her life. She lives in a District 12. But before I read the back of this, I want to tell you guys a funny story that I probably have already told you, so if I did, just nod along and smile. But, so, the only reason why I started reading these books, by the way, I don't know if these were my dad's books or if I bought new ones. I don't remember. But my dad was reading them around the same time I did. Okay, so I think it was my sister and then my dad and then me. And the only reason why I started reading them was because I sat next to this really cute guy in math, and I saw he was reading them, so I was like going back and forth, like, should I read it, should I not read it? Like, I can be like this and SSR and show him that I'm reading it. And I was on the fence, and then in English and in ELA, English Language Arts class, we read the first chapter of The Hunger Games so we could compare it to a short story that we were reading, or that we had read. And I was like, okay, that's not bad, okay. I can dig it. And so I went home and I asked my dad if I could borrow his Hunger Games books, and he said I could. He was currently, like, I think he had just gotten done with Hunger Games, and he was on Catching Fire or Mockingjay or something. So he read those fast though. And then something a little cute, when the movies came out, I also love the movies, but he always took me to the movies to see Hunger Games. Like, he took me to see Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. And I just liked it. It was a little daddy-daughter date. My sister did that with me with Twilight. We had a little sister date every time Twilight got, like, a new Twilight movie released. And when the last Hunger Games movie came out, Mockingjay Part 2, I was dating a guy at the time, a different guy than who I'm dating now. And my mom and I, called my dad and asked him when we were going to go because I was in college at this point. So we were making plans, and then later that night he told my mom, he was like, when Megan asked me when we were going, it made me really happy because I was kind of sad to think that we weren't going to go together and she was going to go with Fred. We'll name him Fred. And it just made my little heart swell, and I was like, well, obviously I want to go with Dad. It's our little tradition. You love my daddy. Okay, enough mushy-gushy stuff. That was 2 stories in one. Let's read the back of this. Okay. Winning means fame and fortune. Losing means certain death. The Hunger Games have begun. In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of, is it Panam? Panam? I don't know. A shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. The capital is harsh and cruel and keeps the districts in line by forcing them all to send one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the annual Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV. 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen regards it as a death sentence when she steps forward to take her sister's place in the games, but Katniss has been close to death before and survival for her is second nature. Without really meaning to, she becomes a contender, but if she is to win, she will have to start making choices that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. But yeah, that's the Hunger Games. So read the Hunger Games, and then read Catching Fire, and then read Mockingjay. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you are weak-stomached, though, I would say do not read them. If you do not like violence, do not read them. But if you're okay with violence in a book and you're not weak-stomached, then go for it. But yeah, those are the books. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like it. Let me know some of your favorite books down below. Subscribe. I post new videos every single Friday at 4. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see your beautiful faces next week. Bye-bye.